I don't even like the word bad. You're not a bad, you survived.
Yeah.
And if you're really bad, then yes, we'd like you out of circulation.
Yeah.
And there is that percentage of people, but the statistics would tell you it's 8 to 12% of the people in the prison population are bad. I'm talking about psychopathic.
Yeah.
I'm talking about people who take great pleasure in inflicting pain on other people. There are those people. Or the sociopath, just completely emotionally disconnected from people. There are other people that really ought not be mixed up in society. I'll just say that. Not everybody is salvageable.
Yes.
But let's say 85% of the people that are in the prisons, many of which are there because of drug and alcohol issues, because a lot of the crimes are committed while a person is under the influence, usually alcohol.
Yeah.
Marijuana, not much. They just kind of go to Taco Bell and relax after they're using. But I'm seriously though. So if you can, as we develop a much better assessment protocol, it separates out who is likely to benefit from rehabilitation and with a legal sanction available as a motivator. Because remember, there's a habituation here that's really tough to break unless you have a higher motive in order to do things differently. To make that distinction and to give those the individuals, Lloyd, that you talked about, Bill, W, other people. I had a guy, Sammy, I remember, who was he came right out of the prisons into my program. He's now a supervising counselor at Hotel California. Great guy, wonderful guy. He would come to my groups and take notes and notes and notes and notes. I go, Sammy, what are you writing down? He goes, I'm just, and he ended up going back to college, and he had been in prison for 12, 14 years. Now he's a great grandfather, and he's still doing this work, helping people. And anyway, Sammy, if you're out there, hi, hope I didn't blow your anonymity. But to put together assessment tools, and the best one I've got right now, the Journey Letter.
Yeah,
because you can do the tests, the DSM-5 diagnostics or the SASE, the Substance Abuse Subtle Screening Inventory. All of these scientific tests, and you answer them. There's a 43% chance that you have a methamphetamine. Or you read one Journey Letter, and you don't need 15 years of diagnostics to say, it is from this pain, it is from this traumatic experience that this person decided relief was necessary in the form of anesthetic medication and anesthetic peer group.
Yeah.
Equally important, if not more important, is the peer group becomes anesthetic because it accepts you. And you belong
it's a comfort zone
there, and you know what the rules and regulations are.
Yeah.
Lloyd and I recently have worked with a young man that was in jail for a year and a half, 2 years. He had 17 open felonies. Won't mention any names. You know who I'm talking about. He had a predilection to take cars. And he, 25 years old, 17 felonies. In and out of jail, in and out of jail, in and out of jail. And I remember going to the jail on a visit as part of his assessment. And I think I went 3 or 4 times, maybe 5 times to the jail to visit. And I looked at him one day and I just said, it's a stupid question, but why do you steal cars? And he said, well, I take them and they take them to a chop shop and then I get, 10 cents on the dollar. I said, does it give you adrenaline? What does it do? And he looks at me and he said, it's the only thing I know how to do. He did.
Jeez.
And he spoke another language fluently.
He did.
Because his family immigrated from a Central European country. And I said, have you ever thought of becoming a translator? And I said, could you speak some of that? I won't say what language. Could you speak some of that language for me? And he did. And I went, I don't even know why I asked him. I don't know. He probably said, you're very ugly today. Yeah. But anyway, he didn't know he had an option. He had no clue. He said, you can make a living at that? And I said, you make a good living at that. You could work in the courts. I mean, you got a lot of felonies. That might get in the way. But man, he lit up like a light bulb. But the point is, he didn't know there were other options. He didn't know. Hey, really?
Yeah.
He just said, when I said, why do you steal cars? That's all I know what to do. I've been doing it since I was. And then I said, how many cars have you've been caught? Some 7. How many times haven't you been caught for each one? He said, 100, 150. Wow. You know, so you do the math on that. And I'm thinking, if that's one guy that we can, let's say, transition into a life as a translator of his language, and he makes a good living at it and develops self-esteem behind it. How many cars is that we don't have to worry about?
He actually ended up with almost as many cars as General Motors.
That was his name. His name was General Motors. Yeah. He was related to Corporal Chrysler.
Just to add on to that comment too, what I found from the journey letters, it creates an opportunity for these people to not only benefit in their own lives, but to help others do it. And they have almost all gone and gotten advanced degrees or gone into special programs that help other people get out. The one gal I'm thinking about who just had a horrendous record, started with being a molestation victim in her family. She struggled, just picked up cases left and right. But she's writing the journey letter and stops, tells me the story, says, hold it. Why am I doing this? Why am I in here? The things that happened to me, I was a little girl. I had no power to stop it, and I'm not holding it against those people. That's their problem they should deal with. But I feel my mission not only is to get better, but to help other people too. And I had her make a presentation to about 200 people. And at the end, she announced that she now has a PhD in forensic psychology and uses it to help other people not go down the same road she went.
Wow, that's incredible.
And it's powerful. So what's interesting is when we rejected those people early in the game by sending them all to prison, we lost an opportunity to create a bona fide group of people who speak from experience to help others not go down that same road.
Yeah.
So the journey letter has been a lot of fun. That's why I'm anxious to put it in book form, because I want other people to read it. And there's also a movie that's a possibility, and I keep thinking for someone who reads the book or sees the movie, maybe it'll dawn on them, hey, I'm in that spot too. Yeah. I want to try to solve it.
Yeah. I mean, it's an incredible psychology tool. I mean, talking about within the legal space, I feel like that would be a great, we were talking about the different chemical assessment tools, the SASE, and which all have their place, but and this even goes back to our last podcast episode, they don't even touch on the root of the problem. They tell you whether or not you have a problem, yes, but they're nowhere in any of these diagnostic tools is there something that's, well, this is what's causing the problem and this is how you get over the problem. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, that's what treatment and psychological help and those avenues are for actually reaching the core of the problem. But the journey letter seems almost like a fast track to help somebody get to that point within themselves and for somebody from a third party perspective to look at it and see, okay, this looks like this is where you're getting troubles from. Let's start here and move forward. Let's touch the core of your trauma. And that's what's going to ultimately help fix your dependence issue on whatever the chemical substance is. But again, even going beyond that, I feel like it is just a generalized psychology. I want to go home and write a journey letter right now, just to help me see and realize what parts of my life I've overlooked or I haven't been paying attention to, or I've, blocked off in my own head so that I can take a look at my life and say, hey, I didn't even realize I had this issue. This might be causing, and that's, so, I mean, I feel like this is great within the legal community. Anybody who is willing to write a journey letter should almost automatically be transitioned into a path of more rehabilitation as opposed to punitive, because just the willingness to try and do something and just the willingness to put that kind of effort into changing yourself shows that you're a decent person, that you're not one of the psychopaths or the, sociopaths that's completely disconnected and just enjoys hurting people. You want to make a change. And I feel like that is perfect. Like that just kind of gives you that, I want to help this individual. This individual should go to the collaborative course. This individual should go to treatment, or he or she should find out what's actually wrong so that we can get them out of the system to help other people, to help themselves, to help improve society, as opposed to, say, being a drain on society. And I think that's an incredible tool in of itself.
I can tell you that once I started doing the journey letters, I don't have many who refuse to do them.
Really?
I've had a couple who drag their feet. So you have to say, hold it. You need 100 pages. These 10 pages for the last 3 weeks is not getting us anywhere.
Yes, exactly.
And they're often very responsive to that. I can't, as I sit here, think of anybody who's basically said, I'm not going to write the journey letter. I want to go some other place. I'm done with this.
Wow.
But it then gives some pressure on you on how you present the journey letter.
Yeah.
And you can tell a lot of stories about people who've been successful at it, but I have yet to have someone flat out say, I'm not going to write that. I refuse to write that journey letter.
That honestly surprises me, because that's 100 pages handwritten. That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily getting any immediate return or immediate gratification for. And most people who were substance addicted are in the world of immediate gratification. How is this going to benefit me now? And that's that impulse.
I do have to tell you, I had a guy in custody. He's no longer in custody. He's out.
Okay.
His paper was 233 pages.
That's it. And I have a feeling that once you kind of start going, and once you hit that kind of point that where you start touching on some real issues, you don't want to stop, which that's because you really are, man. We probably understand ourselves less than other people might even understand us. You know, it's in how much we hide from ourselves as we go through life. I mean, I know a lot of people that it's all about what's going on tomorrow. What am I doing tomorrow? And you never take a look at, I mean, I studied a lot of philosophy and stuff. You don't take a look at how we think and how we, go through the world. We're just on to the next goal, especially here, California, very fast paced environment, very goal oriented, which isn't a bad thing, but you lose sight of some of yourself in a lot of that. And taking a look back, and with the journey letter, I feel like it's a very encouraging thing to help you understand yourself better and to appreciate who you are in a deeper sense, if that makes sense. But just a great self-realization and self-actualization tool, just in general, which is why I think it applies for more than just, sobriety and substance use. And it could be just an in general therapy tool. I mean, it could be a self-therapy tool if you don't give it to a therapist. But,
Well, there is a type of psychology or a therapeutic modality, and it's called journaling. It's very simple. People have been keeping diaries since Cleopatra, maybe before that. So the diary, the journal, a lot of books have been written in the I guess it would be, is it the third person? Where you're writing a sort of a book about yourself. And,
okay.
They say most first books are really autobiographical, even fictional books.
Yeah, interesting.
Which is maybe the writer's need to get his or her story out. And if you think about a journey letter, you think about a novel, you think about a biography or journaling or any of it, what are you doing? You're simply turning yourself inside out.
Yes.
And people don't want to do that. And why is it? Because they're ashamed of stuff that they don't want to admit, even to themselves.
Yeah.
But when you normalize it, Lloyd normalizes it. Hey, it's no big deal. A lot of people have done it. This will be very helpful. And they start doing it, and they find out that the clouds aren't going to open and swallow them up, or the volcanoes aren't. We're all pretty self-centered. We think this stuff is really important information that we should keep to ourselves on some level, until you tell people, I've heard this 1,000 times.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not unique. I know you feel unique because you can't compare. One of the advantages of being a psychotherapist is, I've heard 10,000 stories, and nothing surprises me anymore, man. And it doesn't. I don't want to sound, it's probably like being a firefighter who's been doing it for 50 years and just doesn't get all that upset by an auto accident anymore. But most of what we're talking about is just being human.
Exactly.
But the need to anesthetize pain is universal. Mm-hmm. Seek pleasure, avoid pain. And the research will tell you 10 out of 10 times, pain avoidance is much more motivating than seeking a higher good.
Yes.